Hello. Welcome back to another live stream. Whether you are catching this live with me or in the replay, I'm Safrianna, Lughna, the Queer Spirit Guide. And as always, I just love to be here and to hold space with you all to connect in the way that we get to connect all across the web of the world. And today I'm just so excited because this particular live stream, the reason I'm doing it is because of honoring the Letters of Legacy launch and wanting to share with you all some of my story and draw you into an experience to open you up in your own way to your spirituality, to your self expression, to the doorway that exists within you. That is what today is all about. So, again, we're diving into the Acorn Portal, finding your doorway to spiritual authenticity. And I'm Safrianna Lughna. I am so glad you're here. And today will be a little bit part of me talking about my story, and then a guided experiential meditation to connect you with your spiritual path. So, as we get started here, I just want to ask the question, have you ever known something about yourself so deeply that it terrified you? Have you ever known something about yourself so deeply that it terrified you? We very much live in a world where there is this sort of expectation that we show up in a particular way, that we are dare I say, one size fits all, right? And that we really show up in the way that has been predetermined and preordained for us. And that is not how I see the world at all. I am here to really be a proponent of individuality. And that is why I am known as the Queer Spirit Guide. But I have lived through the terror of knowing, oh my gosh, I'm different. I'm quote unquote weird. There's something about me that doesn't fit in with everyone else. And this deep sense of dread, this fear that I would never find my people, that I'd always be alone, that if I lived in my truth, something bad would happen to me. I've lived through so many of these fears. And so I just want to validate, if you have ever felt too weird, too woo, too wild, too different, too other, you are not alone. There are so many people in the world that have lived under fear of showing up fully in who they are. And I am here to be a voice that says, be you. The most important thing you can be is you. And the most important thing I can be is me. I truly, truly believe that. I get so excited to see how different people are, how unique each individual is, how our blueprints are different. Yes, we have things in common, our labels, the color of our skin, our hair, our eyes, right? These external factors. But while we are all the same on the inside, we have the same blood and bones and muscles and tissues and organs. We are also very deeply different in how we fundamentally work. And so anything that teaches there's a one size fits all is just, I got questions. I got big questions about that, because is that really plausible? Could there ever be something that is one size fits all, other than the base realities of survival, that all humans need water and air and probably light? We could probably survive for some time without light, but we kind of need it. Uh, there's these basic fundamentals of who we are as a species that exist, but can we celebrate the unique differences? And can you really embrace that which you know to be deeply true about yourself? So, just in case this is our first time meeting, I'm Safrianna. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, aka LCPC. I have a master's in community mental health and counseling. I am a Druidic priestess of Brigid. I took my priestess vows in 2019, but I have been practicing the Wheel of the Year for over 18 years now and hosting rituals publicly, privately, through churches, through earth-based spiritual communities, and here online. And it is just one of the most rewarding practices in my life. And so I love bringing it to other people. I'm a transformational mentor and author. As a mentor or guide, I help people through my signature seasons framework to find the seasons of their own soul and really be able to walk with their shadow light dance, which is part of what we'll talk about today. And then as an author, I like to write a lot of speculative fiction, science fiction, fantasy, poetry, and slice of life. I also write nonfiction. Being an author is definitely my highest calling. And in terms of my professional work, I'm really here to bridge trauma informed therapy with earth based spiritual wisdom. I think so much of what is missing from us in the modern day is a connection to nature. We just have lost sight of that beautiful connection with nature that's right outside our doors, but we're so often glued to desks, to technology, to the office that we don't get to really experience nature as she is. And then, as I mentioned, I am the Queer Spirit Guide. This name was given to me in community, and it just represents the fact that I'm here to help people queer their spirit, to find what makes their spirituality unique and different from everyone else's spirituality, while acknowledging there is this thing that I like to call the golden thread. So that's me. And today I am here, as I mentioned, to share Letters of Legacy. Thank you to all of you who supported the book launch. My chapter is chapter number 2. It's called Walking the Winding Path of Death and Rebirth. And I'm going to share little bits and pieces of it with you today. My primary focus today is to just share the higher sort of levels of my story, knowing you can read it, but also to give you the core teaching that I would like for you to be able to walk away with and chew on for yourself, really feel into your own spiritual journey. And of course, as I said, we're going to be doing a guided practice, a guided meditation visualization to go on our little Acorn Portal journey. But again, thank you to everyone who helped with the Letters of Legacy launch. We got number 1 in US and Australia in all of our categories, and we pushed to number 3 in paperback, which is really, really exciting. So thank you, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about my story. My story from being 18 and knowing that I was a Druid to really fully claiming it this year, because it's been a journey. And again, this is so much of what I write about in Letters of Legacy, and I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but in fact, I don't even think I'm going to read any of it. I'm just going to summarize here. What I tell in this chapter is the story of waking up at 18 years old in a Tennessee basement, away from my family, away from my upbringing, away from everything that I thought that I had known. Waking up out of a deep slumber with the phrase, I am a Druid, just like there. I'm a Druid. What is this? And the truth be told, I didn't really know what it meant at the time, aside from the fact that I'm a super nerd and I played Dungeons and Dragons and I played World of Warcraft, and Druids exist in both of those things. And so I had this sense of Druids as nature stewards, as beings who talked with plants and animals and who might have other supernatural abilities, magical abilities, but I didn't really know what a real life Druid would look like. And so, of course, I went to Google. I ended up finding a book. I talk about the moments of terror finding the book, and really starting to read about Druidry, finding the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, and really getting to know their philosophy, and slowly uncovering that the religious trauma that I had been brought up on was really keeping me from spiritually expressing myself. I had such lived and breathed terror that I was going to go to hell at any moment that I couldn't really question, well, who am I and what is my relationship with the divine? And so as I started to read about Druidry, and I found that it could be a path that could be paired with any religion or spiritual form, that just really clicked something in me. Like, oh, there is no one size fits all in my spiritual path. And maybe I can explore, but it took me a long time. It took me a very long time. And I, was part of a coven. I founded an eclectic coven. I went to so many events and retreats and helped run Wheel of the Year stuff. Like, I practiced a lot of things, but I kept it so private and so hidden because of that terror of the thing that I knew to be true about myself, that I was a Druid. And again, I talk a lot about it in my chapter, but there was just this moment of recognition that I was not going to be able to be me and live under the stories that I had lived in with my family for so long. And the turning point was really this moment with an acorn at a retreat in Massachusetts, where I was have supposed to have another item, a token, and instead I lost it in the middle of this, in the dark, in the cold, giant group ritual. I lost my token, and I ended up with an acorn in my pocket, which ended up being the doorway needed to move through the next part of the ritual. And looking back, I realized how this acorn was really a doorway to self-acceptance, to sovereignty, to inner peace, to so many things. So again, if you want to read the full story, you can either grab ebook Letters of Legacy, you can grab a print copy, and I have 2 copies that I would love to sign and give away. So I'm just going to put that out there. If that's of interest to you, maybe let me know. But what ultimately this came down to was weaving death and rebirth. And death and rebirth, I think we all have such fear of death, but death is something required for rebirth. If we look into nature, we see that every fall, things start to die away. The leaves are shed. Most crops die back. And if they're not harvested, go to waste, right? Or they return to seed and become compost. But it is in that death that rebirth occurs and the next season comes. So we need to embrace the energy of death and rebirth because it's like the ultimate symbol for moving through life. And I'm going to talk more about that here in a moment, but I really encourage you to walk your winding path. That is the purpose of me writing this chapter, is to say, yes, I'm claiming my Druid identity. And as I wrote this chapter, I was stepping more fully into my Druid identity. That's why I said, this year is really the year I'm claiming that publicly, even though I've been privately a priestess for going on 7 years now. How is that even possible? And I've been practicing the Wheel of the Year for going on 20 years, but really publicly owning that took acts of courage. And now I'm here to let everyone else know you get to design your spiritual path. You get to sit with what's really authentic and aligned to you and what feels right, and try different practices and try different religions if you want to, right? Read a lot of books. That was so much of my path. And now I really ascribe to the golden thread, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But this idea that all spiritual paths are leading us back to the same fundamental place. So even as I proclaim and stand in the power of my Druidry, I'm excited to help other people stand in the truth of who they are and what they believe and what they want to practice for themselves and their highest soul, their connection to the divine. I think each of us brings that unique spark to play. So that's my story. And now I just want to share with you some things I've learned along the way as you are embracing your own unique spiritual path, to try and encourage you, right? That it's not going to necessarily always be easy peasy, smooth sailing, but there are some fundamental things to know. So, spiritual authenticity requires these cycles of death and rebirth. It's part of a larger spiraling dance. I call it the shadow light dance. Death and rebirth is literally just a process of seeing, living through, integrating, letting go, and seeing what comes in next. We are constantly kind of weighing out, ooh, I did not like that. Ooh, I did like this. And then we let what we don't like go and we bring in more of what we do like. These are all parts of our cycles of expansion. And death is really just the energy of release. It's releasing something that doesn't fit anymore. It's releasing old, outdated ways of being. It's just releasing that which doesn't need to be carried with us anymore. And of course, there are literal deaths, right? And even experiencing death around us kicks us into a rebirth. When we witness loved ones die, neighbors die, our fellow citizens die, it brings up huge feelings for us about who we are and how we show up in the world and how do we spend our time. So it kicks off a rebirth of self every time that there is death and loss outside of us. But death and loss occurs within us too. We recognize a relationship has run its course. We recognize a job is not working for us anymore. We recognize that what we thought we knew and believed does not fit authentically with the new information that we've gathered. All of these can be forms of death, and stepping in to that next way of being is the rebirth. We get to navigate these things with grace instead of resistance. And I'm going to talk about the shadow light dance here in a moment. But really, the whole thing I have discovered is that if we can ride the shadow light dance for what it is, that allows us to navigate change in the cycle of death and rebirth with grace instead of gripping on for dear life and trying to hold on to the light, trying to hold on to what was. That doesn't really seem to get us anywhere. So my first tip for you as you begin to explore your authentic spiritual path, as you dive deeper, if you've been on this journey for a while, my first tip is just to remember that death and rebirth cycles are totally normal. And I love working with the symbolism of death and rebirth. I use the butterfly, the snake, the phoenix. All of those are powerful creatures and entity energies we can work with through our death and rebirth cycles. And on that note, those of you who are participating in seasonal shenanigans, which I'll talk about at the very end today, are getting that upgrade into the butterfly method immersion, where we literally walk through the death and rebirth cycle, in essence, through the caterpillar into the chrysalis, into the butterfly emerging. So play with that symbolism in your own life. Where are you the caterpillar? Where are you in the chrysalis? Where are you emerging as the butterfly? Because this kind of shows us where we're at in different cycles. The shadow light dance. This is moving beyond spiritual bypassing, beyond victim consciousness, into embracing your whole self. So the shadow light dance, I want you to picture a figure eight. And just like that image I just had up, it's sort of blended. On one half, we have the light. On one half, we have the shadow. And the shadow and the light connect and meld in the center at the point of overlap. I see this as the conscious is in the light, the subconscious is in the shadow, and where they cross is our point of awareness. And that is the point where we have agency, where we have power, where we have control over our decisions of where we're going next. But we're really just kind of slipping and sliding around in this figure eight of the shadow light journey. And what I have discovered when it comes to having faith, when it comes to being anchored into who I am, it really comes down to understanding I'm doing this slip and slide around the infinity, and that I don't have to grab into the light and try to stay up there in the conscious. And I also don't want to go down into the depths of the shadow and stay all the way at the bottom of the shadow in the subconscious where I'm spinning stories. I want to stay fluid, and I want to have the faith that even if I'm in an uncomfortable shadow, because not all shadows are bad, we need to really reclaim our shadows. There's the sensuous shadow too. But when I'm down in my shadow, there's plenty of information to get there. And if I accept that and I choose to ride the wave, I know that I'm going to have the ride up into the light again, back into the conscious, back into integration, into awareness, back into the subconscious. I'm going to continually slip and slide around on this journey. I'm never going to be stuck at the bottom, nor should the goal be to try to get to the top, which many people view as being in the light all the time and sort of bypassing this human experience. But that's not the reality. This human experience is very much about being in the shadow light dance, being in the karmic swirl, and helping ourselves and others move out of that so that we can move away from suffering as a more constant state of being into a more balanced, harmonized, good for all way of being. So that's the shadow light dance, right? If we can accept we're slipping and sliding and we're never stuck, we can embrace all of who we are. And then I mentioned the golden thread. Multiple paths are possible. You can blend traditions. I consider myself a druid. I consider myself a witch. I consider myself a Christian mystic. I consider myself a little dash of Buddhist. I have looked at, studied, absorbed so many religious texts, spiritual texts, and writings, messages from others. I have attended lots of different kinds of churches and services and helped run services. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to this golden thread. So many spiritual forms are built off of the idea that we should leave the world better than we found it, that we're here trying to do some good work and make the world better for others, that we are here to sort of peel back the layers of that which does not serve our highest soul. And in so many cases, kindness, the golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated, that like we see these threads through many spiritual forms. Your path is uniquely yours. And I have always taken issue. And if you don't take issue with this and it feels good to you, maybe that's true to your authentic spiritual path. But for me, having to listen to someone else to tell me what my relationship with God looks like never sat well with me. It felt controlling. It felt not actually like what my relationship with God should be like. And in my experience, in my path, I have had incredible meditations and deep journey work and spiritual moments of connecting with the divine that no one else could have done for me, right? It's no one else can do your spiritual expression and your spiritual path for you. So, yes, you can totally play around, you can blend traditions. You can uh like Obad taught me, you can be a Christian and a druid, you could be a druid and an atheist, you can be Islamic and a druid. Like there is no one size fits all. And I am also, when I'm using Druid as an example, not saying you have to be a Druid. That's my path. What's your path? You could be, I've even seen, I have a friend who is Muslim, and I've seen her layer in oracle cards and tarot cards and play around with all kinds of things. So, what we might think this belongs in this bucket and box over here, and this is what this religion looks like. Spirituality is not religion, and religion is not necessarily spirituality. So you get to design your own path and find, what is spiritual to you. Is there a religion for you? There might not be a religion for you, and that's okay. And I just want to like really emphasize guru worship versus inner knowing, because this is where exactly what I was just talking about, putting your spiritual journey onto someone else. I really want to encourage you to trust yourself over external authorities. Humans are humans, my friends. There is no perfect human. There is no human that has truly transcended or bypassed being human. That is not how this works. And if you have a teacher, a guru, a spiritual leader that tries to claim that they are above things, that their approach is the one right way, that you need to buy something, do something a particular way, any of that, right? That's where we're getting into power and control of external authorities. And that is not the way. And so I just want to remind everyone, your relationship with spirit is sovereign. Your relationship with spirit is your own. And I think that true spirituality is really measured by how we treat people. So many of us spend so much time trying to bypass this human experience, get out of having the feelings all the time, run away from it all, to really uh, get away from the discomfort. And we don't want to own our impact. We don't want to admit our shortcomings and our pitfalls and all of that. But to me, spirituality is about understanding that we are connected to something so much bigger than us. And so, how do we treat people? Is our spirit really allowing us to express through knowing that we are interconnected and that we are part of a larger whole? Or are we focused completely in ourselves or on having the right answer to make ourselves somehow absolved of our shame, of our sin, etc., that we're chasing external authority? Yeah, comment here. Trust yourself over external authorities. Wow, yes, not thinking for ourselves really makes us blindly trust external authorities without discernment. When we live in a time where we are in such turmoil collectively, there's so much pain and so much suffering and so much violence that a lot of us are looking for the savior. We're looking for the external figure, the guru, the president, the priest, the whomever, the God who is going to come and help us and save us out of the situation we're in. But that also isn't going to happen. We need to have this discernment for ourselves and trust ourselves and have faith in ourselves, not external authorities. Now, building trust. That's why I'm really here to say, like, your spiritual path is your own. I am never, ever, ever going to tell you that there's one right way. And if I do, call a wellness check, please, because I will be completely out of who I am in essence. But if someone is telling you this is the way, you're wrong, don't no, that come over here, come to our camp, be in our club, this is the one right way, maybe run the other way. Maybe run. And I just want to make a note about earth-based practice. Earth-based practice is available to everyone. We live on this planet and we are all of her. To have an earth-based practice, you can literally be any religion. You can have any spiritual expression. You can be an atheist. Earth-based practice is literally just being able to acknowledge that we are impacted by the seasons, to look outside every now and then, to connect with nature, to connect right where you are, right here, right now. And the truth is that you don't need to go on an expensive retreat to connect with nature. You don't have to have any fancy supplies. You don't have to go to a vortex site that other people have said is a powerful vortex location. You can have an earth-based spiritual practice anytime, anywhere, right now where you are. The ground beneath your feet is already holy. Nothing else needs to be done. And so, I just want to throw out some ideas here because I think even if you don't consider yourself a druid, you're not interested in the nature-based druid path, totally fine. But nature is our foundation. Mother Earth is what supports and sustains us. So even if you're not an earth-based person, if you are Christian and you're praying to the Christian God, right? You can pray in gratitude for the earth that was provided to be able to sustain ourselves and have shelter and food and clothes and all of that. The earth provides. So your food, the food that you eat, all of it came from an ingredient created here on earth. So connecting with your food, blessing your food can be part of a spiritual practice. Really looking outside, connecting with nature, grounding. We're going to do a tree practice here in just a moment for our Acorn Portal. You can make things, you can create altar spaces with things that you find seasonally on the ground outside, right? You don't have to go cut down trees or flowers, things fall. You can listen to the sounds of the birds, the breeze. You can watch the way that the sun rises and sets. Like, earth-based practice grounds us in the here and now. I think it is the most powerful spiritual practice to be in the here and now and notice what is good, what is God-given, what is whatever way you want to see it, right? Nature is really the foundation we all have in common. All right. So we're going to move into our Acorn Portal journey here. And what I want to say for this before we drop in is that, for me, I know I did not read this because I just didn't want to give the whole story away, but the significance of the acorn was the acorn in my pocket that I happened to find on the ground during this outdoor walking journey through the woods. And the acorn ended up being my ticket through to the next portion of the ritual, even though it wasn't what was originally supposed to be. And that just highlighted for me the uniqueness of my path. And I want to highlight for you the uniqueness of your path. So, as we drop into our time of guided visualization, meditation, practice, activation, I just want to speak to the not one size fits all of this too. As I move through, I have no idea where we're going other than that we're going to connect with Acorn, that we're opening a portal. So I'm along with the with you for the ride, but how you experience this journey is going to be unique to you. You might just hear my words and kind of follow along with them. You might go off on your own trajectory. You might see moving pictures in your mind's eye. You might uh, just have knowing or feeling come in. There is no one size fits all, no one right way. Many people like to journal during my activations and meditations, and some people like to have their eyes closed the whole time. You do you. This is for you. Regardless of what you choose to do right here, right now, I'll invite you just to tune into your breath. So just beginning to breathe naturally here, noticing what that is like. We're just taking stock of where we are right here, right now. Again, eyes can be opened or closed for any part of this. As you breathe, notice your body head to toe. Taking a moment here simply to take stock, to notice. And then to cast your awareness out to the earth around you, maybe going down beneath your feet or placing your awareness out your window. Just noticing nature around you, nature beneath you, nature supporting you. And then as we breathe here, I'll invite you to begin to shift out of the thinking mind into the feeling body, sinking down into the heart space. And we'll begin to open to the energy of love. You might recall a recent loving moment, a moment where you experienced unconditional love. But we'll also open with unconditional love for the planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother Gaia, for your many blessings, your abundance, how you sustain and support. Opening through love, allowing it to expand through your chest, down your limbs, up through your crown, down through your feet. Love through every layer. As we begin to open a portal in the heart space, looking out into a forest full of towering giant trees. So, in your own way, stepping through this portal into this forest and taking a moment to really look around. These massive towering trees, as far as the eye can see, as far as you can sense. And you can feel the ancientness here. You can feel the wisdom through the root systems beneath your feet. You can tell that this is just ancient energy, rootedness, oneness with Mother Earth in such an amazing way. And you begin to move through this forest, observing, noticing, feeling. What is it like to be in this space, this sacred grove of trees? What is here for you in this forest? What sensations, what feelings in your body, what emotions? Walking through this ancient grove. And in the distance, you see a particular tree, an oak tree. And by it is a guide for you. Notice who's calling you over. Is it an angel, an ancestor, a guardian, an animal, a humanoid? Who is here for you? Waiting for you beside this oak tree. Approach and just listen for any initial messages from your guide. They motion for you to find a comfortable seat at the base of the oak tree. As you settle in, you find yourself perfectly comfortable, as if this tree has the most ideal nook for you to fit your body in. The floor beneath you, the forest floor, is soft with moss and dirt, soil. Your body is able to be cradled in the soil and the moss, nestled amongst the root systems, as if you're perfectly embraced here. It's almost like your guide is helping tuck you in, helping you get comfortable, your back pressing against the trunk of the tree, your feet moving to rest against the roots. Finding yourself perfectly comfortable here right now, knowing yourself to be an individual entity separate from the tree, separate from your guide, separate from the earth, yet held and supported. Receive the support. And as you are here, perhaps finding your palms open in your lap, finding a receptive energy open to what comes next. As you are here, suddenly an acorn plummets from up high from this giant tree and falls right into your lap, right into your hands, right in front of you. Notice where this acorn drops. And you know it's for you. This is a seed for you. And so you hold it for a moment. You feel energy pulsing through it. The possibility of newness, of rebirth, of a new cycle beginning. You feel the potency of life within, the multitude of paths before you. This acorn is a sacred seed of the journey ahead of you. So, how will you plant this acorn? Will you plant it in the earth? Will you plant it in your heart? Will you swallow it and take it into you, down deep into your belly? Here and now, you and this acorn become one in some way. You merge with its energy, becoming new, becoming small, becoming this microscopic seed by comparison to where you're going and who you're becoming, what you're opening to. following the acorn down. It is planted. You are planted in the earth. At this point, you are not sure where the tree is and where you are, where it ends and you begin. You have become the acorn. You have become the newness. Is it dark here? Is it light? Is there anything that you see or notice? From within the acorn, the void, the black expanse where anything is possible, 0 point consciousness. From this seed, what do you want to grow? What spiritual expression do you want to grow into? What spiritual expression is calling you forward? What practices are beckoning you? How do you long to connect with that which is so much greater than you are, and yet all that you are? This spirit, this soul, how do you want to express that in this world? From the acorn, a tiny crack, a green shoot bursting forth, the beginning, the recognition of where you can grow from. See, sense, feel yourself opening, beginning to expand out of the acorn in to this sprouting oak. Your guide, the divine, the earth, all offering you energy here, energy to help you grow into this practice, grow into this next form of spiritual expression. Seeing tiny little branches beginning to take form. As you expand, as you open, as you blossom, what is each branch? What practice? What religion might you want to study? What ancient spiritual practices might you want to research? Are there offshoots from your ancestry here that you want to explore? Noticing whatever's here for you. What possibilities are growing as you feel into this present moment? And the energy continues to pour in. You can feel the energy from the trees of the grove, the other root systems, the mycelial networks. You can feel the energy from other souls doing this work alongside you, from the highest love, from the divine, from your guides, pouring this energy into you as you begin to grow into your own tree. Feeling the solidity in your body, your core, feeling yourself grounded and rooted in who you are and who you're here to be. Still growing. Not all the answers have been found. Not all of the branches have reached as far as they'll go. You've come from where you've come from. You've come from your own version of the past. You've had your own practices, you've had your own beliefs. And in some cases, those have been co opted from other people. They've been passed down to you, these generational stories. So just gently offering those back over to the soil sending it down through your roots to be alchemized. Anything that doesn't belong to you, letting it go, allowing it to be shed through your root system. Turning it over, turning it over, turning it over, releasing, releasing, releasing anything that is inauthentic to you, that's not for your highest spiritual expression. Any beliefs that you need to do it one right way, that there is one perfect answer. Handing this over. And as you give to the roots, as you give to the soil, to the mycelium, you are receiving too. Receiving authenticity, receiving joy, receiving lightness, anchoring in who you are, drawing this energy up through your roots, through your trunk, up into your branches. As you continue to grow and to soar towards the heavens, moving out of your roots, up your trunk, into your branches, seeing yourself expanding your branches, stretching, reaching, reaching towards your next great awareness, your next message, or just a moment of peace. What are you reaching for? What do you wish to stretch your hands out and take up? How do you want to stand tall in the power of who you are, in the spirit, in the soul of who you are? Seeing your branches growing their leaves if they haven't already grown their leaves. Seeing yourself blooming, becoming more colorful, more vibrant, more full of life. Seeing your tree amongst all the other trees, close to the original tree you sat against. May you remember this peace. May you know that you are no different than the trees, and yet completely different. May you feel at any time that you need the anchoring of your core, your roots, your crown. May you know that you are ever growing, expanding, branching out. May you follow the branch that lights you up and see what grows. May you be spiritually unlimited, open to weaving your own path, walking your own winding journey through death and rebirth. Feel your own little acorns beginning to take shape, buds and branches, your own seeds that will keep on giving ideas, possibilities, plans, dreams, goals, whatever's here. Just acknowledge them. You are here to be your own unique entity. You are here to express in the way that only you can express. You are here to be an energy that only you can be. One with all, and all in you. Breathing here as the tree, as the oak, as this mighty member of the grove, crowned a root, feeling your solidity, feeling your rootedness here and now. And then as you take a few more nice deep breaths, breathing through your leaves, sending loving energy out into the world. And then another acorn drops to the earth from your tree. And where it lands, you sprout forth, fully embodied, fully human, fully divine. Feel your feet back on the earth. And tune back in with your guide to see if they have any messages about the journey you were just on or any other messages for you to receive. And take a look at the mighty oaks, the trees around you, the earth around you. And know that that seed still exists within you, that acorn is still there, magical, ever able to give life again and again. And that you are the mighty oak, you are the tree with a stable trunk and branches reaching, roots sinking deep. Knowing you can come back to this practice, to this grove, to this moment anytime that you wish. Just take some final moments here to receive this, to integrate any symbolism, any messages, any parts of the practice that stand out to you. And with an open heart, having received what you've received, knowing that the gift may continue to give, that more may continue to come through. Thank you to your guide, to the grove, and to yourself for showing up to do the work. And then finding your way back to the portal of the heart, back through the forest, back into your body, reintegrating by wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe stretching. And if the eyes are not already open, gently blinking them open to look around your space. All right, my friends. So we walked through the Acorn Portal. You connected with this tree energy and hopefully with a guide. Whatever's here for you or whatever wasn't here for you, honor it, right? Take it in as the information that it is. And let's see what unfolds from here. I am so grateful to each and every one of you who show up and who continue to connect with the earth, to be warriors of the earth, fighting for a better planet for all. I think it is important work right now. And if we could all integrate that we are both human and divine, and that we get to spiritually express ourselves authentically to us, that we are on a cycle of death and rebirth, that there is no one size fits all, the more we could adopt these things, the better off I think we'll all be. So, as we wrap up today, I would love to hear what experiences came through in the portal for you, if anything. I want to give you a few invitations here. Number one, if you scan this QR code with your phone, it'll make your life a lot easier. This is the QR code for my Heartbeat community. and it will take you right to the Rebel Elements. This is my new free private community where we gather to connect over the moon, nature, share pictures, share stories, etc. We are brand new. We have just our first few members in, and I'd love to invite you in there. If this sort of work appeals to you, you will love it there. And of course, if you want to reach out, if you want to tell me about what came through for you personally during that or the spiritual path that you're exploring, you can email me at guide@safrianna.com. You can find all of the ways to contact me and be involved with me at safrianna.com. And safrianna.substack.com is my blog. That is where I write the most and share the most stories and pictures from my garden and pictures of meals I'm having and all kinds of things. Do pardon the alarm here. I have no control over the fire department. But I would also love to invite you to check out safrianna.com/seasonal, as this is my Wheel of the Year series with my dear friend, Dr. Melissa Bird. And we have a ritual coming up on February 1st for Imulg, and I can't wait. It's just going to be so good. These are 90-minute rituals 8 times a year, honoring the Wheel of the Year. And again, that's safrianna.com/seasonal to go get those details. This is the most bite-sized way to work with me, be in my energy, be in my community, and have some points of presence. I feel like more than ever before, we need these points of presence. Every 6.5 weeks, the Wheel of the Year invites us to acknowledge the transition that we're in. So again, just making sure if you want to join that heartbeat community, that's what the QR code is. Here are the other ways to contact me. And otherwise, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I just want to end this by ending the way I ended my chapter in the Letters of Legacy, which is to claim your magic, wild soul. I know that the earth will meet you exactly where you are. You are one of a kind. You are unique. Your spirit is here as a part of larger spirit, as a part of the larger divine consciousness. I believe that the kingdom of heaven is within us all and that we are meant to express that in the world. So, what is your joy, your bliss, your power of expression that you and only you are meant to share with the world? That is what I am here to cheer you on in. And I know Mama Gaia has your back too. So, if I can be of further assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I'm here to continue to share the message, to be love and light in the world while acknowledging the shadow and the turmoil and the existence of things outside of our control, to really anchor us into what we can do and who we can be to have a positive impact on the world around us. So, thank you for being you. Thank you for showing up. I see you. I believe in you. And as always, I'm cheering you on. Until next time, my friends, I'm Safrianna Luna, the Queer Spirit Guide. Bye for now.